So the big question that might be on your mind, who is Super Liga? Super Liga here in the United States is a newly formed league that was announced back in April of this year, so a short history ago, and planning to bring more futsal to the United States. Now, as you guys know, if you follow the channel often, one of the things I like to point out is a lot of times the word professional is thrown around, and that is not the case. This is a semi-pro league at best, but the good news is it's more futsal in a region of the United States that seems to have a rich and prosperous pool of players, including some heavy hitters. The league was formed by USFF, the United States Futsal Federation. They're one of a couple of futsal federations that are affiliated with US Soccer, and they have made sure to put that in the advertising and in the logos, that US logos right there for everyone to see. But they have announced back in April, like I said, that this league would begin. Originally, they had stated in late May. Now, although there's been a bit of a delay, I made a tongue-in-cheek comment in the WFL video, if you guys caught that last, that how hard is it to make a league? Apparently pretty hard. It looks like there were some delays here as well, because in late May, when we were expecting the start of play, we saw a post go out from Superliga still looking for teams to apply. At that point in time, we'd only seen 2 teams announced. Now, a couple different things could be going on with that. I can tell you that Luke and I had predicted some teams we expected to join Superliga, and I don't think any of the ones that we thought would be jumping in did. So who knows? A lot of things can happen there. A lot of familiar faces there in that East Coast that face off against each other in regional tournaments. USFF is well known for their annual tournament that is held every year. This year it was held in Vegas and saw a ton of talent across all age levels. And it appears that they have attracted some talent for this league that they've begun as well. Now, we are on the eve of the inaugural season. If you were watching this video the day it went out, 6 p.m. today is the very first game of the season. This league is going to feature 4 teams. You've got the Baltimore Kings. You have the Washington Fire. You have Virginia Futsal Pro. And then you have In10sity. In10sity is probably maybe the most well-known of the 4 clubs based on their amazing meteoric social media presence. They do a fantastic job on social media putting their name out there. And I think Baltimore Kings you may recognize as well, because we've interviewed the owner of that organization, which is Josh Danza. And you'll notice that those 2 teams are a part of League One, who we've talked about in live streams before. League One will continue to play separately from Superliga, even though Washington Fire and Baltimore Kings will be involved in both. They will be pulling double duty and taking on both of these leagues here as we go into the summer and fall. Now, today at 6 p.m., like I mentioned, In10sity will be kicking off the season against Virginia Futsal Pro. They are actually the only team so far I've been able to confirm is doing live streaming. I did reach out to our friend Josh on the channel. I've not heard back yet. I know in the past that he's preferred the route of doing replays with highlights. I don't know if with this being a different league and a couple different organizations involved, if that will change. Time will tell. We did reach out to the league based on the email they had in their social medias and did not hear back on a couple of occasions. And I did try to submit a question through their website, but unfortunately it looks like it might not be fully functional just yet, as they're still pulling things together. But the league will kick off. If you are interested to see what this league looks like, I would head over to Facebook and follow In10sity, and you will be able to catch the game live there on Facebook. So we do know at least they will be streaming up to this point. We do not know about any of the rest. I can tell you, Baltimore Kings, very successful in League One, definitely a premier team. They also participate in arena soccer as a team as well, in MASL 3, which is the 3rd tier of the MASL ladder. And then Washington Kings, of course, being a familiar foe to them, and they will be facing off on Sunday. So make sure you guys keep an eye out for that. I'm sure it'll be interesting too. Familiar faces, especially with Josh's involvement with the organizations based on League One. I think that this will be interesting. They do share a ground, so I do not know if this is the same grouping of players like we've seen from Josh's interview with us last year in October, where it's a lot of talent pulled from that Baltimore, DC metro area. That much I don't know. I can't speak to it accurately, so I won't speculate for you guys, but I can tell you that this season is going to run for 6 weeks. So we're going to get to see all these guys face each other, both at home and away. And it looks like when the last game of the season ends in mid-September, we will then wait till October where we will see a championship. Nothing officially has been posted on what that structure will look like, but if you look at the schedule on Superliga's website, it appears that first place will host second place to be crowned champion. So that'll be ideally what will go down in late October. We'll keep an eye on that. Very interesting stuff coming out of the Mid-Atlantic as this league forms and kind of fills a gap where there's a lot of futsal talent, but also fills a gap in the schedule for us and promises for some summer futsal to enjoy until the winter season kicks off and most of these leagues start to get back at it in their traditional winter seasons. I think the other thing, too, that we should keep an eye on with these guys is any potential expansion. When you take a look at the geography of these teams, like I mentioned, Baltimore and Washington sharing a venue, which is kind of split between the two metro areas. You have In10sity in La Plata, Maryland. So that's about an hour and a half south from where DC and Baltimore's Fieldhouse is. And then Virginia is based in the southern portion of the state along the coast. And they will be heading north for most of their away games and have quite a bit of ways to travel compared to the other two, but still only a 3.5-hour drive. When you think of some of the other leagues in the United States and their travel and how it impacts them as far as an expense and timeliness, this is actually pretty manageable compared to what we've seen in some others. So they cover a small footprint, but that doesn't mean there isn't room for growth. I remember a young NFPL that had a very small footprint only across 2 states. So a lot could happen in a few years. Let's see where this league goes and hopefully provide some competition against the NFPL to make both leagues increase their game. From what I've seen so far, it looks like Superliga is still, as much as I hate to say it, possibly stumbling out of the gate with some things like their website looking somewhat unfinished. And then, of course, the late start. But that said, very promising, very exciting stuff, especially with some big marquee teams like Baltimore and In10sity being involved that clearly have some talent if you followed them at all up to this point. I don't know what you guys think, but I'm glad to see more futsal in the United States. I'm even more happy to see that it's going on in the summer so I can enjoy that league as well as multiple other leagues that go on throughout the year. What do you guys think? Will Superliga provide a rising tide in the United States for futsal? Or is this just another small league that is going to putter through the next few years? And what do you think about the streaming situation? I think that's what I'm most interested in from you guys as viewers, is how you feel about a league when it's hard to follow. We've talked about this with leagues like FCS. We've talked about this with teams that are involved in even the NFPL that primarily streams almost all their games, if not all their games. But certainly there's a few teams that sometimes we have a hard time viewing. What do you guys think about that? Are you even interested? Is it a question of a tree falling in the woods? If no one is around to hear it, does it make a sound? Is this the streaming situation for me? That's certainly how I feel about it. It's great if there's a league, but if we can't view it and learn the players and fall in love with something to be able to have a passion to follow it, it really doesn't do much for the sport. I want to hear your guys' opinion because it's most important. And until I see you guys next time, don't forget to play with your soul.